Hey, I want to do a vlog on Obama and and just in general on Obama and just presidencies and the economic situation. But my light is out, and so sorry about that. But I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm a I'm a I'm gonna be. If this was completely dark, I could use this as a flashlight, but I got my big screens here. So I want to kind of make it sort of like easy and quick to understand how I feel about it. And I'm gonna talk about a couple of things. I think I might even get personal. I just finished a lot of work. It wasn't so bad, but because I got a team of people working with me. But here in Buffalo, I've kind of built a business. I'm starting to build a business. I'm freelancing, and it really just started out as I needed to study, and I was posting my stuff online, and I other people started seeing my work, and they liked it, and they started giving me commissions, and so the business I started doing more work, which is great because it helped me to pay my bills and my electricity and just maintain while I studied and tried to perfect. Well, now I got a couple of guys helping me, and so they get some business, and we've been working, and the business started to grow a little bit, and so I think this year we did three times as much as we have done before. So I want to give God the glory and the thanks for that. So I could basically work for only a short period of time and then work on the things that I'm trying to study and develop to develop better and bigger business and industry or what have you. So, but that took me 7 years. 7 years before I get. I'm about to take my first vacation in 7 years since I left New York. I think it's 7 years or into 8 years because of 9/11 is when I left. I actually got here in 2001, but it was actually 2002. So it was like Christmas time, New Year's time, 2002. I mean, 2001, but the beginning of the year was 2002. So I actually came back here on Christmas Eve, and then 5 days later it was 2002. So 2002. So I'm almost 8 years. I'm 8 years into this. But basically, after 7 years, I was just like, okay, that happened. I was watching on YouTube, and I was watching Solomon, and it was great. It was an incredible movie, and I started watching it on YouTube, and I watched every single one of them. And I love this thing. I love the iPad, and it's really great. When I go on vacation, I'm going to be I'm gonna take my iPad with me and just and a keyboard and type and do some of the things I want to do. This is fantastic. It's like a movie theater right in your hand. It's great. I sat and watched all of these. It's like, video on demand. I loved it. Great stuff. So, 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 so I'm gonna take a vacation. I'm gonna try to take a little time off. I meant to take some time off this summer. It's an extremely, extremely difficult summer. And I need to write stories and with all the studying, it has got me to where I'm ready to do my movies and things like that. So I'm there now, and there's some other things I gotta wrap up, and some misgivings, some misfortune. Has not been all that easy, but God has been good. I want to just give Him the glory, the thanks, and the praise. So so so, but it took me 7 years, and the reason why I 7 is like a number of completion. And I was watching Solomon on the iPad, and they said he built the Lord's temple. Okay, he built the temple, and in 7 years took him to complete it or something like that. So, so that was really interesting. Now, it took me 7 years to really get to where I need to go to where I can get started. Okay, And in the midst of all of this, all these other things started to happen. It took, normally they say it takes 5 years to start a business. 5 years to build and start a business. Now that's if you know you're going after a certain business, have money, you start to develop it, you get whatever loans, you get Obama help or whatever, stimulus package and loans and businesses and stuff that he has to spawn and help you get started in a business. And then that's if you're planning, you know what you're doing. They say 5 years. Don't ever expect a 5 year more than no return on your business in other than 5 years. You can do business for 5 years, then that's when you expect to expect a return after 5 years. The time that you're just investing in it, the first couple of years. And so I can relate to it more because, like I said, consequentially, I have started, a business. I'm not quite there yet, but, and the trip about it is like, I'm not really going to be pushing it as a business. I'm trying to start something else. So it took that long just to get started. Now, with that said, everybody with good common sense know it takes that at least 5 years to start a business. At least. I don't understand how anybody could possibly think that, that a president can turn the whole country and the nation around in 2 or 3 years. I don't get that thinking. To me, it's just completely, and I am not trying to call nobody stupid or nothing like that, but everybody knows it takes 5 years to start a business. So even if you look at America as a business gone bad, which it has not, it still works. It's work. It always has worked. There's something that happened to it that made it start dysfunctioning. What was that? Reaganomics. 2 years of Bush. That's how many years was that? How many years did we have of the Bush Reaganomics administration? 8 plus 8, I don't know exactly. And somewhere throw Clinton in between. So we knew things were going awry, that things were going to change drastically when Reagan got in office. And since then, we have had his right-hand man, his henchman, or the mastermind, Daddy Bush, and then, the puppet that just didn't give a darn Baby Bush or whatever. Just didn't give a darn. I mean, didn't care whatsoever. And did some notable things. Started a war and borrowed the money for the war. Now, with everything I've been doing, I have been pay as you go. Make the money that enables you to reinvest and to get the things that you need. If you're not making the money, then you can't reinvest. And therefore, you need to focus on what it takes to make the money to invest. You have to focus on it. So if you're not doing it right, it won't work. If you're doing it right, it's going to work. If you're making money at your business, then you can buy computers to invest in your thing. Now, this was a totally let's go borrow the money. One of the biggest Bible principles, a simple principle, is be thou a lender and not a borrower. And so the easiest way is to be a lender to the day that you get to where you can just start lending people money and say, here, take this, take that, is by not borrowing. So if you don't say, lend me money, then when it's time for you to lend, you actually got to pay other people back. The way to become a lender is not to be a borrower. You have to stop borrowing. Okay? So the first thing that the president did have to do, when you got to run around a runaway train, like what we had with this crazy spending, borrowing, and I really think it's terrible because he just, people who say greed is good is, I'm not going to use the S word, But it's, greed is not good. Okay, let me just say it like that. It's not good. For somebody to take all the marbles and everybody starve, that person who has all the marble is going to get killed. They're going to get, they're going to get robbed. Okay. So the way to stop a runaway train is first you have to put on the brakes. You have to stop what you were doing wrong. So we had spent, 16, 15 years going the wrong way, going down the wrong hill. First you have to pull that to a halt. Then you have to turn it around and change the operations of how you do it, or you might have to repair it, whatever. But I just don't understand. I know a lot of people are saying he's passing a buck, but it's not that. It's how did you get where you are now? How do you fix, you don't know your future if you don't know your past. So people who want to erase, and that's why I was going to get personal. People who want to erase the past and say, okay, forget all that. That's in the past. Wait a minute. Forget that you wound up broke and bankrupt and stuff. Forget about everything about how we got there. That's people that don't want to own up to accountability and a responsibility. Of what has them in the situation that they have. And that's kind of like the situation I have right here with my housing situation, because I remember coming back here and wanting to buy a house and nobody would sell me a house, my family. And so before 9/11, before, when I left Philip Morris, I had a lump sum. I was going to go and buy, buy a house in Buffalo, and nobody would sell me one. So when eventually a year or two later, when 9/11 happened, I didn't have a house. And so when I had to come back here anyway, now it was then I started renting for my parents, and now I got to rent instead of having my own house, And so the first thing they want to say, well, forget about all the times we didn't want to sell you the house. Well, I'm paying rent now because you wouldn't sell me a house when I asked you, Now the reason why I bring that up, because they've given houses to all my brothers and sisters and they don't pay rent. So the fact that I have to sit here and pay rent every month, I just think that's really unfair. So, but I don't care, because the Lord blesses me anyhow. He has blessed me with a business that is growing, and I'm going to take my first vacation after 7 years. So, so what I'm saying about with Obama and the Obama administration and the things like that is I just out of plain common ordinary basic business sense, I don't know how anybody can expect him to turn 15 years of stuff. I'm thinking he's going to have a fair shake and have 8 years to work out a plan, because it took 7 years just to do some, for most things and most times in your life. And we are talking about take 7 years. You could divide your life up by every 7 years, So we're talking about a whole nation. And I think it's completely unfair if you don't give him a fair run, because his plan is working. He at least stopped the stuff and slowed things down. Then you have to start to rebuild and get the momentum back up. And basically all he probably have to do is to reverse some of those laws of greed, like tax breaks to the rich. Constant. That was another thing that happened in Solomon. I was watching on YouTube on my iPad. It's like, Solomon kept giving, tax breaks, and the people were like, when are we going to get a tax break, now that the temple is built, I want to bring that up, because I'm not relating that to that, but I'm just saying, the first, you would think the first 4 years that is just, if he's gotten it to stop, to slow down, that would be good enough. Then you have to start building business and recreating. And that, everybody knows, takes at least 5 years. So the people with the I want it fixed now mentality. Forget all the other 10 years or 15 years of Reaganomics and two Bushes having 8 years each. I don't understand their thinking. God bless you all, because you know I love you all. God bless you all, especially the one. You know what? In the Solomons, I was watching a movie on YouTube, and he had said, you know, a wise man should be quiet, because even a fool should be quiet sometimes. Because, you know, they won't be able to tell whether you're wise or a fool. Because even a fool would look good. A wise man holds his tongue. So a fool should be quiet, because then he would at least look wise. So to me, this is foolish thinking, you know, to think that he could turn it around completely. He needs more time. You know, give him the credit that you gave all them other jerks. God bless you. I mean that in a very respectful way. They're still presidents. I'm just, you know, opinion.